The next call is a split call. I call Denise Roach, 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I rise to take a call on this bill, the Gambling Amendment Bill number 2. While I was looking at this bill in preparation for today's speech, I decided to go back to look at why it was first introduced. And if we recall, this bill was introduced in August 2007, and it was essentially, the reason for it was to make some amendments, tighten up some technical parts of the 2003 Gambling Act that was enacted only a few years before that in 2004, sir. This bill came to the House in August 2007. The Select Committee reported back to the House in May 2008. The second reading was in May 2009, and it was introduced back to this House last year in 2014. This Parliament, the 51st Parliament, picked it up again in December for the Committee of the Whole House, and here we are, sir, in its final reading. That's a gestation of approximately 7 years, sir, and you have to ask yourself why it's taken so long. I assume, and I'm assuming, that it's because circumstances have overtaken many parts of this bill. And there have been other bills that have been introduced that have tinkered with the Gambling Act, and there's also been quite a lot of different applications of the original Act which still need to be tightened up and are still about to be addressed with the next bill, the Gambling Amendment Bill number 3, that is currently in front of the Select Committee. So the reason this was enacted in the first place was to put some controls and tighten up some of the controls around gambling machines and regulations for casinos. I went back and looked at the Hansard speeches of the second reading in 2009, and I was interested to note in Sue Bradford's speech at that time that she said that $2 billion was gambled in that previous financial year. So in 2008-9, $2 billion was gambled, was lost from people's pockets. Now, despite, between that time and now, a reduction in pokie machines, despite the efforts of councils and sinking lid policies, this year, in the last financial year, the Department of Internal Affairs reports that $2.09 billion was spent, 19 million more dollars than what was spent on gambling in the previous year. $808 million was spent in the last financial year on Class 4 pokie machines, that's the pubs and clubs gambling, and $509 million was spent at casinos. And this, sir, is despite a reduction, a gradual reduction, in the number of venues, the number of licence holders, and the number of non-casino gambling machines that have gradually decreased. So what we're seeing, sir, is that despite those efforts by communities, people are gambling more. Without a doubt, sir, we support this bill. It's mostly technical amendments. It includes the definition of a gaming machine, and that's great because it actually starts to take into account some of the changes to gaming machines that are being introduced. Specifically, sir, the multi-seat automated gaming machines that Sky City will be introducing to their casino as part of their deal for the convention centre that allows an extra 20 automated machines, which will have up to 12 persons at each site. Sir, we see this bill as a lost opportunity, essentially. We had supplementary order papers in this bill through the Committee of the Whole House to look at player tracking and pre-commit cards, which would essentially make gambling on pokie machines a lot safer than they are currently. We've had attempts in other bills, specifically the Gambling Harm Reduction Bill that was in the name of the Māori MP Te Ororo Flavel 2 years ago through this House, and yet we still have not addressed problem gambling as an issue. So we'll be supporting this bill as it comes through. However, we do want to say that there's a lot more that we could be doing to sort out some of the rorts in this industry and keep people safe.
I call Chris Hopkins, 5 minutes.